Hi, Nir. So thank you for coming
Oh,
today and thank you for your time.
yeah, good to be here. Great to see you, Grant.
Great. It's good to see you too. So I just want you to talk about yourself and your experience in the industry and touch upon like what kind of experience you have with mergers and acquisitions.
Cool. So thank you for the opportunity. Name is Nir Makowski. I run a business growth accelerator. That means that what I put the emphasis is on how to run successful businesses, and my company deals with startups as well as conventional type companies, I would say. And we've got a community that has growing companies, mid-size, and I've got another brand that helps single owner businesses to grow their business. I have experience of over 20 something years. I'm 48 years old, and I studied electrical and computers engineering in the Technion. And from day one, I was involved in startups. Some of them might be familiar for people. I was in the States, relocated and opened the subsidiary company over there, and came back. I developed an AI platform, and then sold it to Philips Healthcare. And I've been running the accelerator for over 10 years now. And during that time, I've been involved in several acquisitions and mergers. And I was witness, actually, the first company I worked at, I was a witness to begin with a merger where probably we'll talk about soon as well.
Great. That's sounds like you got a lot of experience and that's perfect for the following question. Being from your perspective, what are
Yeah.
reasons that owners would want to exit their business either through a merge or through an acquisition? Like, what are the reasons that might arise?
Wow, what a wonderful question. So what I found is that there are reasons that person would like to exit the business. So the first one is your typical entrepreneur that kind of, yeah, I've done something, I was successful, and now next best thing, meaning that I'm kind of the innovator portion. And usually at that time he would sell it and get the money, move move onwards. Second type, I would say, are those that don't like to be tied down, meaning that they are what I call freedom seekers. Those that kind of, yeah, I want, nobody's going to be my boss. I mean, the business grew to size that don't want to run that huge of a business. I'll collect the money and move on forward. And the third one, I would say, is that, all right, so I like the business. I want to enjoy what I've done, but I don't want to be tied down to, I want to do other things, but still collect kind of the cash cow. So then not sell completely, but maybe merge to another one and keep some percentage for myself as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. That was a very informative answer. So now that we know the reasons for people wanting to exit their business through an M&A, what advice from your experience do you have for people to successfully exit their business?
Well, you know, I've recently talked with a lot of my colleagues and some people, and it seems that we've done a research, and over 75% of owners have seller's remorse, meaning that they kind of thinking back, oh, I could have done something differently, I could have sold it in a higher price, and so on and so forth. And when we kind of investigated and kind of try to see why is that the reason. Is that we find out that people don't plan ahead on what they're going to do afterwards. They kind of what's my personal vision. Second, it's the confidence is, am I get the right price? Is that the right way? There's a lot of stress in, am I selling it the right price? Is the deal going to go through? Is my business valued the right way? And everybody around you gives you advice. You should do that, you should do this. And you hear in the news, you've got Facebook, you've got the social media telling you that, oh, that one person sold in this one sold in that. The people just don't also plan what they expect to do with the money that we're going to get as well. So what are my red lines? It's like when you prepare for negotiations, you have to plan what is the ideal outcome, what's the worst outcome. And so it all comes down to planning.
Okay, thank you. So during an M&A, a merger and acquisition, what are the most important phases during the process and during the due diligence, like when the lawyers get involved? What is important to look out for during that phase?
Well, this is, I think, could be an interview by itself. At the end, I think the most important is be able to make the decision, close the deal. What happens is that a lot of people at the end mess it up. Maybe we shouldn't go through it. And then there's a lifespan of a deal. So if you don't do it in that time frame, the best deal that you could have done is not going to go through. So making a decision at the end. Beforehand, I would say, is during the negotiations. You have during the negotiations, again, that could be, especially myself, probably you're familiar with what's the common ground? Why are we doing it? Keep in mind why both sides are doing it. What is in it for them? What's in it for me? What is it for both of us? Whether it be a merger or acquisition. If it's a startup that's been sold to a huge corporation, why the corporation needs me. Beforehand, it's obviously, as I said earlier, it's planning. And during the due diligence, I would say there are two things. If we're talking from the company that say, I want to sell my company or merge to another company, then I need to know what are the plans for my company. I need to get some information on what the company is behaving with other companies that it bought. Is there any legal issues over there? And the second thing has to do, I think, with both sides have to look into is the fact that if the company has employees, then how the employees are going to react afterwards. That it really needs to be thought out in advance how the cultures are going to merge, how logistics are going to happen moving forward, and make sure that after the merger, what made the company great is not going to disappear. And I'm not ignoring the technology itself or the IP and all the finance stuff, because you've got good finance. I mean, you have to have a good team of finance and legal. You know what the IP is worth. So obviously you have to take care of them, but those you could easily have good people around you to help out with those issues. But the rest, it's up to you to make sure that you cover all that.
Great. Thank you. That was really helpful. Just from your experience or from what you've seen, have you ever seen an IPO or an initial public offering help or hinder an M&A? And how would an IPO benefit or hurt merger and acquisition?
Well, I've got friends get lots of money, and they had a great product and they had sales, and the IPO allowed them to continue and grow the company, which gathering money through an IPO. I spoke with the VP of marketing of the stock exchange in Israel a while back, and they encourage people that have solid wise companies, I would say, to try and get money in the stock exchange because, well, you got something that potentially could get a lot of money in short time and grow the company to where it's supposed to be and still keeping control of your own destiny. The flip side of that, there are two flip sides for that. The first one, once you become a public company, then yes, you may still keep control over the company in some way, but you have all the restrictions that goes along with being a public company, and obviously the regulations. So you no longer this flexible that you could do whatever you want in your company. And the second thing is that if you go too early and the company is not solid enough business-wise, I'm not saying solid business-wise, there have been cases where the company, it was profitable, it was successful, but it had no system or no track or record or say time on the road, enough time on the road yet to make sure it's going to continue that way. And the first sign of trouble, what happens is that you have to report to stockholders every single thing, and that obviously drives the stock down, and then you might be left with a profitable company that's worth nothing just because you went through a bump in the road that you didn't know how to go over it. And I've seen it happening. So I would say that you have to kind of gather some experience in getting over bumps in the road. If you hadn't had bumps in the road yet, it's probably not a good time to go public.
Very informative. That was great. Thank you so much.